Homebound.
That's what he did in the movie.
No, I know. Oh, this thing.
Little white chicks action.
Yeah.
All right, let's start this, mother.
Mother.
Yes.
Your headphones
there
are up
they are.
there.
Wow, we started.
Yeah.
That was a smooth start. That was a
A
smooth
little twisted up too.
start to the. You twisted up, but I love that people see the
Oh well.
the making of
Yeah.
a podcast. Welcome. This is Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm Howie Mandel.
I'm Jacqueline Schultz, his daughter.
Hello, and I'm
Hi.
Terry Crews. How you doing? I don't know. This thing is all messed up, but it's okay.
What's messed up?
I can't.
Can
turn
you
this
not
one
hear?
part around.
Oh.
I don't want to break it.
Break it. It's okay.
No, that's
I
not how you
can't.
do
I
it.
won't do it. I'm
Alec.
trying to get it.
No. Let him. This is
Oh, there
content.
it is. That's how we do it.
This is content, and you can lower the mic to your mouth. and
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like we had it all working.
Who needs a
you got
Rubik's Cube when you
this
have
is a lot
headphones?
of technology for a podcast. This is beautiful.
Really, a headset and a mic?
No, well, I'm looking at all the pretty lights and things. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of people listen to a podcast, and then we have over 20 people that will watch this on YouTube, so they can watch it. Terry Crews.
Hey.
Terry Crews. I don't know what are you saying? I got a signal from Caroline. What are you saying?
Can you just scoot closer to Jackie a little bit, please?
For
Is
the
that better?
cameras.
Is that better?
Is that better?
Okay.
Okay. A lot of people will do this before the production begins. We do it in the midst of the production.
Yes.
That's Caroline, one of our
Yes.
producers. And anyway, Terry Crews,
Hello.
who is, hello, Terry, a friend, but more than just a friend. You are an inspiration, buddy. You really are. Terry Crews, I don't know, I'm sure that everybody listening knows who he is as the host of AGT, but he's more than the host of AGT, former NFL player, an artist, a flautist,
Yes.
motivational speaker, an author.
Yes.
Tough.
Yep.
The
new
book
book.
is doing great,
It's
right?
doing very, very well.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Why did you write the book?
You know, I wrote one in 2014 called Manhood, and I thought that would be it. Like, you know, that's my memoir, you know, throw it all out there. And then a whole lot more life happened. I mean, like tons more.
A lot of it public.
Yeah, in front of everybody. I mean, you know, the pandemic happened. My wife was fighting breast cancer. I got molested by an agent. And then there were all these questions, like crazy questions, all the time. And I said, I need another book. I need to really just put it all out there one more time. But also, what was weird is I learned a lot more about myself. Like, I thought I knew myself even after I wrote the first one.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm still learning. This is a whole nother thing. And I just had to, and I think there'll be another one maybe in about 10 more years or 15. And then I'll go back and go, you know, I didn't know what I was talking about back then. I don't know. It's just like a constant growth.
What's amazing about you, the experience that I've had with you, besides working with you and hanging with you and being, as it turned out, I do these corporate dates. You know, I'll do a stand-up comic, and they'll hire me as a stand-up comic. And as luck would have it, one of these corporate dates for whatever the company was, and I can't remember exactly what the company was, but they hire also speakers. And motivational speakers, and I got booked as the entertainment at night, and you got booked as the speaker, the main speaker
yeah. I remember
during
that.
the day. So it was the first time. So I sat down and listened to this speak, and I tell you, it was one of the most moving afternoons and inspiring afternoons I ever had. And even though I know some of the stories, and I think the world knows some of the stories about where you came from and who you are and what you've done. OMG is the best way to describe what is your message to human. You know, I also believe sometimes your speaking has gotten you in trouble.
Yeah. I think we all know that.
and you keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, now, you know, the big thing for me is, you know, I used to, my first 40 years on earth, I was very secretive. I had my, you know, my image, and it was the Terry Crews image, man. And
What was that image?
It was a beautiful, muscular black man who stood up and beat everybody and was the man and the coolest thing in the room. And we were both bald. And I was the cool. I was like, I got everything together. Like, I wanted everybody to know I had everything together. I got my wife, I got my kids, and it's all in line. Everything, nothing is out of sorts. And it was a lie. It was a huge, gigantic image that I worshipped, that I had everybody else worshipped. And the thing was, I was very, very successful. So there was no one to even challenge that. They were like, yeah, man, you doing great. You're the man. But the thing that really, really kind of put a dent in all that is my wife was like, hell no, I've had enough. This is it.
Your wife?
My wife. She was
Rebecca.
Like, this whole thing is a crock of shit. And I was like,
what happened?
Well, first of all, as I was Mr., Hollywood and doing my thing and all this stuff. But what was weird is that slowly but surely we were growing apart. You know what I mean? And it's wild because you know it's happening. She knew it was happening. And she just kept questioning me. But I had a lot of secrets. I mean, stuff that I had held over for years, a lot of football stuff. And what was wild is I had this addiction to pornography that I never told her about. But then, what was so crazy is that 20 years into our marriage, 10 years into it, I had some infidelity at a massage parlor. And I got a hand job at a massage parlor. And I vowed I would never, ever, ever tell. Like I said, this is it. There will be no, I will go to my grave with this and I'll just put it out of my mind and it act like it didn't happen. But the problem is that one lie turns into 10, turns into 100. And what happened was it was like my wife knew something was up, but just couldn't put her finger on it, couldn't tell what it was. And I would constantly redirect. I would get into arguments to make sure she wouldn't ask anymore.
Well, okay, so let's take you through this. So you got a hand job at a happy ending.
Yeah.
You said you're going to put this out of your mind. Obviously, did you go back for more?
No, I never went back. Never went back. Never did it again.
So it was all based on this one infidelity.
But the pornography still came. Still was in my life. Like that was a thing that I had that I just could not break. It was like,
why is porn bad? I think a lot of people would listen.
Yeah.
It's okay to watch porn. You're just watching it and it's entertaining and it's could be satisfying. Why is that bad?
Well, this is the thing. Well, first of all, if your wife is fine with it, then there you go. You know what I mean? I guess it wouldn't be bad. But the problem was I kept it from her because she didn't like it. And if she would have agreed, then it would have been cool. But she didn't like it. And
how do you know she didn't like it?
Because she let me know she didn't like it. And that's one reason why I never told her.
But you said it was a secret.
Well, but this is the thing. I mean, there were times when she would walk in and caught me or whatever, and she's like, are you in that? I'm like, oh, no. I was just seeing what was going on. It was I was never. You know what I mean? I was like
a 15-year-old being caught by their mom.
Oh yeah, it was a grown-ass man. Like I'm like, I can't believe people are having sex on the internet. But this is the thing though, and that's the thing. It's kind of like my big deal was it started to change, and this is where you go into it because again, a lot of people say there's nothing wrong with it, but I know for me, it started to change the way I saw people. Like,
really?
People they lost their humanity. Like people became objects. Like it felt like I was disconnected. And I have to tell you,
in general, or just the people that you were watching in?
No, just when I say that, it means that, it's kind of like I have to say, whatever you think about, it kind of manifests in different ways. You know what I mean? Like I saw women as less than me. You know what I mean? I saw women as, oh yeah, she's probably, it's kind of weird because the mindset was, just because I was a man that I was more valuable than the women in my life simply because that's what everything told me. And when I looked at, and porn in itself is one of those things where, like, I remember going to a strip club with football players, and the girl is up on stage and the whole thing, and then she comes down and wants to talk to the players. It's like, stop talking to us, because you're like becoming human. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to go back up there and be a picture, be an image, just be a doll. But any bit of humanity is off-putting. And I started to treat people like that, treat everyone in my life like that. And I saw how this was changing me. And then another thing is that all addictions you deal with, it's a response to helplessness. You know what I mean? Like, as a kid, my father was very abusive. And I grew up, my mother was addicted to religion. And my father was
addicted to religion.
Addicted to religion. When I say addicted to religion, the church we went to was a cult. I could not go to the movies. We couldn't listen to secular music. We couldn't play sports. I couldn't dance. I couldn't do everything I'm doing with my life right now. I was not allowed to do as a kid. Like, they catch you dancing.
Because you go to hell?
You go to hell. Everything would send you to hell. And then there was this thing called the rapture, where there was this thing where, okay, if you're caught in doing one of these bad things, God's going to take all the good people and leave you behind. And if you're left behind, the whole world's going to go to hell. You're going to get your head cut off. But
and there was no way out. So if you did something bad, aren't you allowed to? I'm a Jew. I don't really understand. Aren't you allowed to go to confession and then say a couple of Hail Marys and then it's okay?
That's not the way it worked. You have to understand, shame ran the whole thing. Like, you had to be ashamed of everything. And so when you're shamed, it was constantly this feeling of, and shame tells you that you are bad. It doesn't tell you that you did a bad thing, and this is the thing, the church we went to, everybody was bad. We are bad people by nature. So the only way to get good is to be there and serve God at 24 hours a day, for every hour on the hour, every minute on the minute. You had to be you were all in.
Are you not concerned, even at this moment, talking about this way? There are people, church-going, God-fearing people, who are going to say, this is a sin right now, what you're saying.
Yeah, but what's wild was when I say this stuff, people go, yeah. A lot of church-going people go, yeah, that happened to me too. That's me. I mean, when you're talking about, it was a cult. It slipped over into craziness. And now let me tell you why it really affected me to this point, because I remember being, as a kid, I was helpless. Meaning, my father was alcoholic, and I could never do anything to please my mother, because my mother was like, you got to please God, and you can't do anything enough to please God. So it was a constant feeling of being helpless. But what was wild is that pornography it took me out of all that. It was like, like, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, but that was one of them things, like, oh my God.
How did you get into
dude, I was my flute lessons. Wait.
All right.
I know. Let me tell you.
We're getting an image.
Let me clarify.
You better. She was so good at playing the flute.
No, I would go over my uncle's house. My uncle was a jazz musician, and he played the saxophone and the flute, and that's who taught me. But he was really, he was a jazz guy, so he would get high. He had Is
this your mother's brother?
This was actually my aunt's husband.
Okay.
So he was an uncle
by marriage.
By marriage, and he would get high, and he was all into everything. Like, he had the zodiac calendar with all the sexual positions, and I'd be walking around like, wow,
How old were you?
Oh, I was probably 9 years old.
Oh shit.
And he also had a huge chest full of every brand of porn, like, Player, Penthouse, Playboy, all the Hustler, everything. And what would happen is I would do the lesson, and then I'd have to wait for my mother to pick me up, and he'd leave me down there.
Reading.
And I found it. Kids will always find. This is another thing too. People will say, nothing wrong with porn if you're over 18. But I don't know anybody who ever discovered pornography at 18.
No.
You're always a child.
Right.
Somehow. And this is where it kind of messed me up because I was too young. And those images and the position that I was in, just in my home life, it's changed something in my brain. I know there was something that happened where I was like, I'm hooked. Because, dude, when I opened that magazine, I was like, holy cow, I was gone. Like, it was like a high. And I was like, they're so beautiful. And only look at these women. Now, I didn't even know what sex was. Because, again, part of the religion, you never talked about sex.
Right.
Sex was forbidden.
Did you have any idea where you came from?
No. In fact, my parents never talked about sex. My father, even now to this day, never talked about sex with me. To this day, we've never had a conversation about sex. And then my mother was like, the only way she would bring it up is like, are you having it? Are you having sex? I'm like, no, I'm not on it. And that was it.
Why would she ask you that?
Because she was like, and this is another thing. She said, because she got pregnant and she was 16 and 18, and she didn't trust any young man. And so she thought that we were lying about everything.
Wait. Let's go back.
So she didn't trust you.
She was
either.
so religious that you think she was repenting for what she believed were her sins?
Absolutely. Yes, because she did all this stuff. So you go get saved so that you can make it all up. Like, I got to fix everything. So I'm going to dedicate my life to the church. I'm not going to be evil anymore. But I'm still bad. I'm always a bad person. So I can never really fix this. So just by giving my life to God, it's same reason why people go, I think they join, being a monk or go join whatever, because they feel like, I got to make up for something that I did in the past. And now I'm going to just dedicate my life to God and that's it. But that's not the right motivation. It's obvious. And what was crazy is my pastor of that church, who was this really hardcore dude, he was selling crack and using crack out of the pulpit, man. And he had like 5 girlfriends. He wrote a book about it. At the time of all the time I was growing up there, he had women. He was sleeping with married women. He was having sex. He was doing crack, selling
What was the
crack.
religion? What was the religion?
Well, it's a Pentecostal religion, but the church was called the Church of God in Christ.
And this is Detroit.
This is in Flint, Michigan.
In
Flint, Michigan. And he was a bishop. He actually worked his way up to being a bishop in the church, but he had all this dirt. Like,
how do you know about this dirt?
Well, he wrote a book about it. He actually wrote a book.
See, ask Terry one question, it's just fucking movie.
I know. Well, one thing, this is why I had to write another book, because one thing leads to several other things. So, but what was so crazy is that I was underneath this whole, this thing. And once I got out, I also learned when I was young is how to be two people. You learn that it doesn't matter who you are. What matters is what you look like. Like, the image is everything. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what your feelings are. What matters is the image you portray to everyone. And that's the lesson.
What taught you that?
The church. Football.
How did you know that he was fucking people?
Oh,
crack.
You know what was wild? Is my father was in the street. Now, my father's alcoholic. He didn't care about church. He never went. And he used to confront my mother like, hey, I know about this dude. And she'd be like, don't you talk bad about Pastor Jones. Don't you say nothing about Pastor Jones. And my father would be like, oh, I know about Pastor Jones. I know about him, Trish. I know. And I used to hear this argument going all day. And I would be like, well, Pastor Jones, no, he's okay because he's with my mother said he's okay. Oh, my God. And it all came out. The whole thing imploded, right? And
I'm fascinated that a guy like this was able to even, get a congregation and
why? That happens all the time.
Well,
there's a lot of people that are not good people that are able to get a following and lead them to whatever their beliefs may be. That happens all the time.
Yeah. I got to tell you, this
Hitler.
guy.
Wrong.
Hold up. This guy. Yeah. First of all, the charisma this man had. This is one reason why, and this is why I always question the leaders. I got in trouble. I got in trouble over the pandemic for questioning leaders. Questioning leaders for BLM, questioning leaders for any church, questioning leaders. Everyone was like, yeah, well, you should just trust us because blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hey, wait. What are you saying? What do you mean? And where are we going? And if you can't answer those questions, what happens is the charisma of a leader just gets people, listen, and I did a movie called Idiocracy that people love.
I do love that.
And exactly. President Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho. I based him on Elder Jones. Who was the preacher, the pastor that did all this crazy stuff. Because he said gibberish. But the way he said it, everyone, I give you my word. He gonna fix the dust storms too. I give you my word. He gonna fix the economy. And people are like, yeah. But what did he say?
I don't know.
He said nothing.
So your distrust in everything and your questioning everything stems from your childhood and having distrust in the people that you were supposed to believe in, even yourself, because you said that you were two different people.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you couldn't even trust yourself.
Nope.
And you knew other people couldn't trust who you were portraying yourself as.
Well, I went along with the game. I figured like this is the people who are winning are the people who are doing that. And I was very secretive, didn't say shit about nothing. Like wouldn't tell people nothing. And I was extremely competitive. Like in every scene, it was like I could smile at you and everything, but I wanted to destroy whoever was in front of me. I mean, literally, like I looked at everything as an obstacle.
Were you violent? Were you violent?
Very, very violent. I had a lot of rage, and this is another thing. When you're helpless, you get rage. When rage fuels addiction, and you know, this is one reason why I got the muscle. My father was very abusive, but
abusive physically?
Physically, but not to me. He beat up my mom. And I knew one day, I said, well, I mean, just watching the way my father operated, I was like, that's the way you run the world. That's the lesson I got. He was manhandling, he would grab her, and this is another thing in the culture that I grew up in. The whole thing was you didn't really appreciate your family. You controlled your family. Like you owned them. And it was a thing where you went around, the attempt to control people was the way everything operated. I mean, the whole thing about being a pimp was a real, like, it was looked at as a very, respectable thing. Like, yeah, I'm pimping, man. I could tell these girls to do whatever and they do it. And then you did that with people. And this took a lot of dissecting. This took years of me kind of looking back at why I believed, why I did the things I did and where I was. And again, everyone would say, but Terry, you're a nice guy, whatever. But man, when I snapped, it was wild, man. There were so many people who I picked up and put on their head on the concrete, man. My wife was running and screaming like, why did you go there? Why did you do? And I blacked out. This is one thing I realized, like when people brought up the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, I said, I did that. Like, I know what Will Smith was thinking, the blackout, because listen, he literally blacked out. He got up there, he didn't even know where he was, and I promise you, after he starts yelling, get my wife's name on you, he was like, what is happening? Uh-oh.
Really?
I promise you that. He had no idea.
Well, he has a similar background. He talked about not being able to protect his mother. In his book.
Because his father, he brings up his father's abuse in the book too. Because I read that book, I couldn't believe. I was like, man, it's always like these same kind of themes that bring this stuff out. And my wife had sat me down. She was like, Terry, listen, man, if you do this, like if you can't get control of this, we're gonna lose everything.
Because you're gonna kill somebody.
You're gonna kill somebody, or you're gonna get killed. Or you're gonna just do it to the wrong person, and they're gonna kill you. Because one of the incidents, the police came and they were ready to shoot me. And this old white guy came out of the crowd. Was like, no, I saw the whole thing. It's okay. They were being bothered and the whole thing. And they believed him, but they didn't believe me. And she was.
Well, what happened?
Well, what happened was these guys, they were standing around. I had already been a little bit famous, and we were headed to the Longest Yard rap party. And
The Chris Rock one?
This is me and Chris Rock, Adam Sandler, the whole thing. I played a character named Cheeseburger Eddie.
Right, no, I saw the movie.
And so we went there. We were on our way, and we had dinner, and we waiting for the car to come. And these guys came. They were drunk, and they were like, "Hey man, it's that dude, man. It's that dude from Friday, yo. Hey, let me get autograph, man. Let me go." And I'm like, "Oh boy, okay." I said, "You have a pen?" Now my wife is pregnant with my son at the time. And he is 16 years old now, but this was 16 years ago. So he slaps my wife on the arm. "Hey, you ain't got no pen and shit?" That's all he had to do. I picked him up, put him on his head. His friends saw that. They were like, "Ah," and I started stomping this guy. Like, I didn't stop. And I wasn't going to stop. My wife was like, stop. She's screaming. Now, you got to understand, this is Christmas time. Downtown Pasadena, people were running, screaming, hollering, like, again, what he did was wrong, but it was, the punishment did not fit the crime, because I was gone. It was way too much. And after I got away with that, again, I blacked out. She's like, "All right, Terry."
What stopped you?
The police. No, when the police came, and they had their hands on their guns, and all of a sudden the guy came out and was like, stop. This is the same event. And she was like, "Terry, we are going to lose everything we have. First of all, you don't you want to be there for your son when he grows up? Like, because I don't see it. I just don't see it. I see you're going to be in prison because you have." And she used to always say, "You have this rage, you have this anger." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm angry?" I almost remember. It almost goes back to, "I'm not angry. What the hell are you talking about?" I mean, dude. This is where I'm like, I'm losing it.
Also, like, Will, at a really good time, you're going to a premiere of your movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, no. And that's the thing. Because when everything starts getting bigger, now the pressure starts to get bigger. And all the, if you have a fault or flaw, or they start to rise. You know what I mean? Like, if you're down and everything is just, you're just not that successful, you can get away with a lot of stuff. But when everybody's looking and now the stakes get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the pressure gets, everything you do gets, and let me tell you how it happened. Like, when it really, really went down. My wife, I was in New York, she was in LA, and my wife just wouldn't leave me alone about she's like, "There's something I don't know about you. Like, I don't know. I don't trust you." And I was like, "Oh," and listen, the question was, for me, it was like, why doesn't she believe me?
Right.
But the question should have been, why am I lying? You see what I'm saying?
No,
like, that's a same context, totally different. Why doesn't she believe me? I thought she should just be believing whatever I say,
well,
even though I know I'm lying.
Okay, but can I give you the other side of that
go
story?
ahead.
So you had an indiscretion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which, it's human.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Did you not believe that her knowing it would cause more damage than you? I'm just giving you another, playing devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. Is it bad to lie to save the marriage, or is it better to be honest and see where it goes?
First of all, I discovered, the way I discovered is that honest is everything. Like, for me, and this is where I went to radical transparency. When you see, like, when I go in and I just say who I am, it's an attempt to kill the image. It's like to rip it down. So it leaves me right out there. Now, I can't hide behind that anymore, because the hiding is what continues the thing. Now, when I say that, I mean, one lie turns into another. Like, it just continues, because it'd be different if I had this conversation, I told my wife I was having these thoughts or these issues, and then she said, and you know what was crazy? Because I thought as soon as I told her, she would be like, "I'll hate you, I'll never, the marriage would be over." And so my attempt in my head was to save the marriage.
That's what I'm saying.
But what I was doing was actually controlling her. You see what I mean? It was control.
You're controlling the situation. You think you're controlling her?
Did you come?
Yeah, because if you don't tell people the truth, You're trying to control people.
Did you come to all these realizations yourself, or did you go to therapy?
Therapy. And now, this is another thing about therapy. When, in the culture, where I grew up, therapy was viewed as quackery. It was viewed as crazy.
That's not only your culture.
Yeah.
That's humanity right now. Well, my whole soapbox is to remove the stigma of saying you have a mental health issue and maybe go get help.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just in your community.
No, it's probably not. But I'm just saying, from where I was in, now you have to understand too. There's almost a triple whammy. The sports culture on top of the male culture, and then you have black culture, which was black culture viewed therapy as indoctrination into whiteness. You understand what I mean? Oh,
I've never heard that.
Hey man, we didn't have black therapists. So you're like, why you going to that white man and tell him your problem, man? No. Them white people gonna make you crazy. You understand what I mean? So it's a triple whammy. Wait, and you're talking about some of the most people who've been through some of the most trauma of all time.
Absolutely.
Who will never get help because they feel like that's being white. So you know where you go? You go to the church. But the pastor's sleeping with everybody around. So where do you get the help you need? Where? And that was my problem.
Wow.
And it was stuck.
Are you ringing?
I don't know what. Yeah, it's phone. I turned the phone on, but the iWatch is going.
Oh, okay. It's your therapist.
Yeah, he heard me. He heard. But you see what I mean? Like,
that's amazing.
Isn't that? And it becomes this circle where. And dude, you got to understand. People will go to their grave. It's like I've seen grown men, and I mean from the NFL. It's like falling into a hole, and you're in this hole, but you can't yell help because that would mean you looked weak. So you just sit there quietly, and you just wait for somebody to come through or whatever. You can't get out of the hole at all. So you're just sitting there like, yeah, well, one day I'm gonna levitate out this month. Like I'll get out of here, and you never do, and you die in the hole.
Oh shit!
Isn't that crazy? But if you yell help, people are like, oh, look at this punk. Look at this punk ass down there in the hole. He can't get out. Help! And then they pull you out, and you look like a weak punk, and everybody's like, "You're so weak. It's sorry." Look at
so you talk about, I'm telling you, as a white guy, we learn about the oppression, and we know, but that still exists, yes. And I don't until you. That's incredibly sad. You just, yeah. But it's wonderful that you talk about that.
But that's the thing, Howie. That's my thing. I said, if I don't talk about it, and that's why I had to write another book. You sit there like, I got to talk about this. Like, people don't know.
So my question to you is, my dad always talks about how he's scared now as a comic to talk about stuff and cancel culture and people getting on him because he is on shows like AGT and has sponsors and stuff like that, and he can get in trouble and lose everything. Are you not? I know you said you're not really nervous about like social media and people and what they think, but do you ever get nervous about your career?
Yeah. Well, but this is the thing, man. If I talk about me, it's still me. Like, it's me. This is my experience.
I'll give you an example of what he did that I don't think I would ever have the strength, the fortitude to do. During the Me Too movement, when that first began, Terry is the poster boy for male Me Too movement. Right. And if I went to a part, and I think you're absolutely right, and I'm with you. I was with you, but I thought, how the fuck do you even, I don't know if you know the story, Jackie. Do you know the story of, he went to a party, and the agent grabbed him inappropriately.
Know the story,
But if that happened to me, I would hate it as much as you fucking hated it, and I think this is inappropriate and it's wrong. I don't think I would ever have whatever it takes to be public about it. Yeah. Not only be public about it, but just hammer it and hammer it and hammer it until there is a result.
Yeah.
And to that end is to what Jackie was just speaking about, it's a powerful agency.
Yeah.
And you were asking for this person to be canceled.
That's right.
Because just like every man that was inappropriately abusing their power, violating women, was canceled, and you felt like just because you're a man, this guy's going to get away with it, and you saw it through right to the end.
Yeah.
I could never have done that, and I don't know what that takes to do that.
And and the only reason I did is remember what fuels addiction, what fuels the rage is the helplessness. And I said, I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless. This is what I can do. And by doing that, I gain my power. But
were you not afraid that you would lose? You gain your personal power, but were you not afraid that you would lose your opportunities?
Oh yeah. Oh no. After I tweeted out what happened, I came home and I said, "Hey, honey, Hollywood's over." I said, "We're out." And she was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I told." She was like, "About Venit? You told?" She was like, "Yep," because she was right there. She saw the whole thing.
Right.
She said, "You said something?" I said, "No, I did more than say something. I wrote it and put it out. It's going viral as we speak." She's like, "What?" And she said, "You know what?" She said, "Terry, we had to start over after football. We'll start over after this." I said, "Okay. Are we good?" She said, "We're good." Pow. Wow. We fist bump. Because this is another thing. I didn't do this alone. She was right there with me the whole time. And she was, "Terry, you need to do this." Because this is another thing.
Wait, but she wasn't, you just...
No, what I mean is, there's no women in my family that haven't been inappropriately abused. And so she was like, "You know what, Terry? This stuff happened to me. This is what we're going to do." And I was like, "Yep." And I was just listening to her, and it was so wild because as the women were coming forward, I was just following their lead. I was actually just my whole thing to come forward was to support the women who did that. Because I didn't even name Adam Venit at first. I didn't even put his name out there. But all these dudes, everybody, the whole internet was like, they're calling them bitches and hoes. And yeah, that's what you got to do to get in Hollywood. Yeah, they liked it. But the thing is, no one gets paid to tell. You get paid for silence. As soon as you tell it, you ain't getting no money. I ain't getting no money. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as you speak it, it's a wrap. Your check is over. Anybody who ever got a check, you were quiet. Okay?
Right.
And so everyone felt like, they're trying to get some big payday. I'm like, oh no, nah. Because that happened to me. And I'm sitting there the whole time like, that happened to me. Yeah. Then I had the conversation with my castmates on Brooklyn Nine-Nine before I even went public. They were like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, isn't that crazy?" And they were like, "Oh, it's so crazy." Then I went, I need to tell this stuff.
So
what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Because I'm sure you were thinking about it for a while it was going on.
How long from the time it went on till the time you went public?
Oh, it was a year.
Oh,
it was a year. But
answer her question. What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
The straw was again as soon as everyone, it was the New York Times had all this article about all this stuff that Weinstein was doing. And then when I just went online and I saw all these people who were just dogging these women out. And I said, this is not true. And I was sitting on set and I just started tweeting. I mean, I wrote the whole thing out. And I remember it all was in a whole little system. And then I just pressed go. Like, I let all the tweets out at once. And I went back to work. And then I saw, it was so funny. People were holding the lights and stuff, and people were looking at me like, uh-oh. Like
you saw it popping up on people's screens?
Yeah, well, people were like, what? And as I was continuing the day, you could feel the energy. It was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then my phone was buzzing, and my publicist was calling. I had my wife didn't know. Nobody knew. This is how you know it's something that triggered. Like, it was something that I needed to do that was it had to change. Like I knew that was the only thing I could do. And I did it. And it felt like, wow, it felt like 1,000 pounds off my back. Now, mind you, I went to the agency the next day. Like, it wasn't like I didn't go, people like, I didn't bring it up to the agency. Why didn't you tell? I told Howie Mandel, Adam Venit, my own agent, Brad Slater. I told my manager. I told everybody. And I was like, what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to take this very seriously. Oh, this is crazy. Venit calls me. I'm so sorry. I was drunk. I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, man, but hey, I'm the client. You're like, dude, you can't do that to the clients. What is going to happen? Well, we're gonna do it, and nothing happened. Zero. And then finally I get a call from Ari Emanuel, who's like, well, I want to sit down and meet with you at the Four Seasons Beverly Hills. I was like, oh, so? Like, he was like, I'm going to do you the benefit of actually meeting with you. And I was like, wow. And then when I met with him, I said, hey, man, you know you work for me. And he laughed. He said, oh, yeah, okay. Okay, what we're going to do? What I'm going to do, I'm going to take his title, and we're going to give him 3-month suspension. I said, hey, man, you can't touch the clients and go back to work, period. I said, that's not enough for me. He said, that's not enough? I said, dude, what he did, I was like, yo, man, I'm the client. I pay you. I paid you millions of dollars. I said, if I went to Vons and the guy bagging my groceries grabbed my balls, hey, man, he's fired. Now you can continue to shop at Vons. Thank you very much. And the whole thing. I'm like, no.
But he can make an excuse. I grabbed the wrong bag.
Yeah.
Paper or flesh?
Paper,
you want
plastic.
paper or flesh?
I'm like, dude, I said, that's not enough for me. And they were like, because they thought I wanted millions of dollars. That was the big thing. Like, okay, he's waiting for a big payday. I said, no. I said, what I want is he cannot be an agent. You goofed it up. You had your shot. You goofed it up. Go do something else.
Wow.
But you can't be an agent anymore. Who's gonna? I mean, what? You gonna send your daughter to go work with this guy? You gonna send your son to go work with him? Huh? Nah. My son's in the business right now.
I know.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's doing his thing. But I know there's a bunch of Adam Venits out there. Okay? And I'm like, hey, no, and watch yourself. Look out, man. And I said, this guy blew it. He had a shot. You're head of the movie department, bruh. You should know more than everybody in the whole building that you can't put your hands on the clients. You're gone. And they were like, no, sorry. They said, we agree to disagree. And you know what I brought up? I brought up Mel Gibson. Ari Emanuel wrote a letter on the Huffington Post saying that Mel Gibson should be banned from Hollywood for anti-Semitic remarks.
Right.
And I said, hey, man, anti-Semitic remarks, as reprehensible as they are, they're not even illegal. I said, dude, so you saying Mel Gibson should be out, but your boy who did a crime, literally punishable by law, he should be fine. I said, man, read your own shit, man. Read your own letter. And he was, I can't. Sorry, I agree to disagree. I was like, I know how you playing it. So we gonna go all the way. And see, that was another thing, because every one of those little indiscretions, they call them that was a macroaggression. He was like, fuck you. I was like, whoa, you gonna really, I'm coming to meet with you and you literally end with fuck you? Like, hey. I was like, all right. See, now everybody I kept going. I was like, yo, man, he gave me no choice. They gave me no other recourse. I was like, all right, we got to go all the way then. I spent $500,000 of my own money, Howie. My own money. And I said, you know what? I'll spend $1 million to win $1. And I said, I'll probably never work again, but I know I'm doing the right thing. Like, my wife was like, we're with you. She said, wow. I'm with you.
Wow.
And what happened, he ended up retiring is what happened, because what happened was, you don't rob the biggest bank in LA. You've been robbing little banks all the way till you get to Terry Crews, okay? So what happened, there were other people who came forward and they were like, yeah, he did this to me, and we'll join your case privately and the whole thing. And then they said no mas, because it was gonna get real ugly. And I was like, how far you wanna take it? And they were like, okay, we're done. So he's gonna retire. We're gonna give you all your fees back that you spent on your lawyer, and we'll be done. And I was like, thank you. That's what I wanted in the first place. That's all I wanted.
Wow.
And
that's heroic.
But this thing, man, in heroes, it's always an accidental hero.
Do you think they learned their lesson?
No.
No, right?
I mean,
it's not them, it's humanity.
No, yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, the agency, it sounds like when more people started coming and when they saw that it was going to be a loss for them, then, okay, we'll take the L and move on. It wasn't because there was so much remorse.
Oh,
right?
it was dirt. I mean, they had private investigators following me. They had fake stories they were making up, going right to the press. I mean, come on. I was getting warned. They were like, well, we have pictures and things of you with prostitutes in Monte Carlo and the whole thing, and we're about to go public and the whole thing. I was like, oh, go ahead. That's my wife. That's a picture of me and my wife. You know that, right? I said, you know what you just called her? I said, hey, man, I'm sorry, bro. But this is the thing about coming forward and being transparent is that my dirt, anything I had ever done was already out. Like, they didn't have anything to be like, we got you. I was like, no, man. I've been to therapy almost 6-7 years now. So, and I've already been forward about anything that you could try to twist on me. So, and me and my wife worked it out. So now, because that's where the honesty came for me and protected
You
me.
sleep well, don't you?
I sleep so freaking good. Yeah.
Well, do you have anger still?
You know what? I know how to deal with it.
But it's there.
But no, but this is the thing. I'm no longer helpless. Only thing that creates rage is when you feel like, imagine like you boxed in and somebody's got you if you're buried, feel like you're buried alive. You know what I mean? That's what rage feels like. It's like road rage. You feel like people just like, why did this guy go crazy? It feels like someone's pumped dirt on your coffin and you're in it. And you just want to, I gotta get you. I don't feel that way anymore. I always have a release valve. I always have a way out.
Now that you're transparent and open about everything, does that trickle down to your kids? Do your kids come to you about every little thing and they're overly transparent and share everything with you knowing that you'll be accepting?
Well, I have to say this. I don't expect them to do my level of transparency, but we can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Like what happens is now we'll sit around the table and they're free to share as much as they want. You know what I mean? And I understand if there's some things that they just want to keep to themselves. That's okay. But we have real conversations about sex, about life, about, relationships, about people, about love, about what's real, what's not. And man, it's night and day from when I grew up.
Well, what's amazing is, and I obviously, I know you professionally, and I love you for as little time as we spend together. We really do. But I was really bowled over. We went to the Kids' Choice Awards, and his son works at Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, yeah.
And I saw you on the show, too.
Where you got COVID.
Pardon me? I think that's where I got COVID.
Yeah.
But watching him watch his son and seeing the genuine joy in the father-son relationship. His son was so excited to have his dad there. He was so excited to watch his son. It's the exact opposite of what you're explaining your childhood and your relationship with your parents. Yep. The fact that and I think that's what everybody should strive for. Everybody's got flaws and shit in their life, but you got to break that
cycle.
That cycle.
Yeah.
And it seems like you are, and that's really hard because we act the way we were grown up. We're products of our environment.
Yep.
And this seems like, at least what I see with you and your son, it seems so healthy and so wonderful and so joyous and so, you've just described incredibly dark, a very dark, dark, dark time. This is like sunshine. This is like the opposite of what you described.
Man, I am, you see, I'm going to tell you, in America, we got it wrong. I think there's a lot of perspective that we need adjustments on. If you live in America, you're damn near rich. I'll be honest with you. Because it's always, I used to live
Not everywhere.
Oh, hold on. I used to live in comparison to everybody. You know what I mean? Like I look, and if I don't have 400 million, 500 million like The Rock, I'm poor. But when I started to really look at what I had, and this is what I mean, is I had my wife, I had my kids. I had a car, I could pay my bills, I could do my thing. I was a rich man in terms of the world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and this is
perspective.
It's perspective. That's what I'm saying. What about a perspective change? If you have a car, you're actually only 1% of the humanity. People don't know that. Like, if you have a car, you're 1%. You're in the top 1% richest people in the world. But the perspective is always bent. You're supposed to have 4. You're
Right.
supposed to have a vacation home, or somehow you're missing it. Somehow you. But I started to, and with the therapy, and when I started to see my family as like, that's my riches. Like, it doesn't matter what Hollywood is. This doesn't matter. And this is one thing that makes it so great about AGT. When I get up there, and I'm always in tears on that show.
Yeah,
I'm always, because I see the fight that people have to go through, the courage that it takes to get in front of everyone and put yourself out there. And it's like, man, and then you give them something like a golden buzzer, and they're like, oh my God, you just gave them a dream. It's better than money. It's better than money. Because they can do whatever they want with that.
Well, especially this year, your golden buzzer, that kid.
Oh,
that was.
dude, goosebumps,
I was crying.
I'm getting emotional now.
I was crying before. Did you see his golden buzzer?
I saw
The
that.
sax player. That kid has just had such a real tough time, and was incredibly articulate, sadly, about his feelings about not being worthy and thinking about suicide, and just how tough his life is. So to be witness in that room to, he said, we said, what does the show mean to you? Or what does this mean to you? Before he got the golden buzzer, before he played, he said, I think that this is, and I think that most people go through life going, what is my purpose? Why am I here? He thought, this is why he's here. If he does okay today, this is my purpose.
And his mom made him go too, right?
He didn't even sign up.
It was his mom.
It was his mom.
Yeah.
His mom made it.
And she was standing, you were standing with her.
Standing right there with her. Dude, and again, when I just look at what this is, because it's really not, who's to say one singer is better than a sax player, that's better than a dancer,
You
the
can't
whole
really.
thing. You can't.
It's subjective.
You know what I mean? You're right. But all you have to do is go out there and give your all. See, because in comparison, it's like, well, was I good enough? But when you just deal with what you have and just enjoy what you have, and that's what when you see somebody out there enjoying what they have, you just I'm like, man, that's how I have to live. Like I get reminded all the time, man, enjoy what you have, dude. Stop looking at what everybody else got and then comparing. Start looking at what you have. And listen, and every time I do that, I go home and I go, holy cow, man, I almost lost all of this,
I'm also fascinated to jump around a little bit, but I always look, I'm an aficionado of sports, but I'm fascinated by the fact that, when you look on a field or you look on a court or on the ice, there's 20, 30 people there that, in my mind, are like the chosen. Because every kid in the world, because they grab from all over the world, is like competing. It starts on the school ground, on the schoolyard, and then you may be put into, some sort of
A league.
or something like that, and then, like you, NFL.
That's right.
I would think that when you join them, that you would think that would be, and for a lot of people, that is the epitome. That is the goal. And that is, were you happy in the NFL?
No. Because again, man, you never, I like to call it dangling carrots. There's a stick and there's the carrot, and you never get it.
What do you mean you never got it? You got drafted.
Yeah, and then you got drafted, but you got to make the team. And then when you make the team, you're competing with other people on the team nonstop. Like every week, people don't know you don't get an NFL contract. My contract was game to game. Okay, so
really,
one
game?
You get a game to game contract where literally they can cut you at any time, but you have to play for them. They have your rights, but you can get cut anytime, and you don't get a dime after you get cut. So it's this constant hamster race where you're like, and so the thing is, your teammates become your enemies. Because you got to beat your teammates. Because I got to be better than you. And they would play it. They'd be like, hey, Bob had a really great practice week this week. And you're like, oh my God. Like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean I'm leaving? Does that mean? Then they just leave you with that. dude, it was a nightmare. My stomach was upside down. Most players, and this is another thing with players and with sports and in general, is when you say it's the pinnacle, the sport, when you are great, you become amazing. Wait, you're not even just great. You're better than everybody else. Like literally, like I am, I'm Terry Crews. I am the NFL superstar. I am better than everybody. And all of a sudden, you look at a lot of the problems, especially with the league that I was in. It was, I knew rapists. I knew people who beat up everybody. You go to the club or whatever, and they be fighting everybody, and they expected everything. It was all entitlement. And you realize it's because they felt they were better than other people. They've been told this from college all the way up. But the problem is when you're done playing, not only are you not better than everybody, you're not worse than everybody. You become your wins and you become your losses.
That's my theory about Tom Brady. He left and Giselle told him to do the dishes one time and he went right back to the NFL.
Well, look, first of all, I don't know if Tom wants non-football Tom.
Yeah.
Like, even Tom is a little like, I like this.
Well, that becomes your self-worth.
Dude, first of all, the horror of, because what's going to happen. Look at old basketball players, man. I know for a while, it's wild, man. I'm a Dr. J nut.
Right.
But there's my kids are like, Dr. Who? That's hard. I mean, it happens in Hollywood.
No, always. We talk about that all the time.
The fight to be relevant. The fight to people want to know my name. And who are you? Who are you again? Is your name where? What? Where are you? Oh, that's a horrible, horrible feeling. But I've learned to disconnect that from who I am. Before, that was all me. Like,
well, that's our culture now. Like
Yeah.
on social media, the numbers, the clicks, who knows your name, the identifiable, notoriety.
dude, if you don't have so many followers, don't even do it. Like now, it used to be where you played piano for your family,
Right.
But now if you're not playing for 5 million people, I quit the lessons.
And everybody's doing that. But everybody's doing that, right? If anybody on Instagram, it's always Joe Schmo in their underpants on their bed that's getting, how many followers do they have?
But it's a lie. First of all, the Instagram, it's the picture that you painted and whatever. And I know the people in the jet, and then they get off the jet and go back and drive away. And then you look at Twitter, it's all bots. They're not even real people. That's what so flipped me out, when you find this one person who can mimic 10,000
But you're killing it on
people.
social media.
But again, I'm real. What you see is what you get. I mean, I don't make it up. It's just, hey, I'm having fun. I'm doing my thing. If the followers are following, but you got to understand, social media almost killed me a couple years ago.
Why?
Oh, just
because of the backlash.
oh,
BLM.
Oh man, you got to understand. I was canceled. I've been there because I had questions. Hey man, listen, Black lives do matter. That's all it. But I was like, wait, if we're gonna get on the plane, where are we going? And they were like, shut up. Don't you ever question where we're going. I was like, but you're flying the plane. Where are we gonna get? What is the intent? What is the final goal? And they were like, shut the hell up, Terry Crews. And I said, all right, man. All right, I'm out.
Because, it's kind of this, it's not the same. I'm not going to compare it the same, and I don't want to get either one of us in trouble.
No.
But it's kind of like always in social media, perception outweighs, like all they're saying is, why are you questioning it? It may be the right question, but the same thing is just like I will get hit for, and it's not comparable, but I will get hit for a joke.
Right.
But
Right.
I was just, well,
Your observation.
But it's not even my observation. It's how you took my joke.
Oh.
It's how you, it's
Yeah.
intent versus perception.
Yeah.
And on social media, perception is king.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's at the beginning of our conversation. You go, it's about how it looks
Yep.
on the outside. Everybody thinks Terry Crews is you said that package on the outside. Everything's going good. Everything's positive. Everything. But inside you had the anger and it wasn't real. That's what social media is. In your intent was to question,
Yeah.
and maybe you would get an answer that would satisfy you.
Yep.
But the perception is, you're questioning something that's really important.
Yeah.
You're questioning something that is needed. You're questioning something against your own community and your own culture. And that's as far as the perception of what you were doing was doing. But at the same token, I make a joke. The perception is you're being racist, you're being inappropriate, but that wasn't my intent.
No.
But it doesn't mean that they're not wrong either.
But social media is about a performance too. Like, it's kind of wild because everyone is performing on social media.
Right.
So, and it's wild because I have people who tweeted bad things at me, but then when I see them face to face, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like, hey, how you doing?
Well, it's hard to face somebody.
Well, yeah.
It's really easy
because the performance is great.
Right.
And then you look at me and I'm like, I'm looking you in your eye. And I'm like, so can we talk? Is the social media and I'm talking about just the words, is that the reality? And when they see you in person, is that the performance? Well, I know. A little bit of both, I guess. That's a really great observation. That's a little bit of both.
Right? Because people feel like they can say whatever they want and be evil and mean when they're not face to face. But then when they're face to face, they're really nice and everything, but they don't mean it because they can't say what they really thought. Like people.
What was so funny is I had some people who went on me on social media, and I saw them at an event the other day, and I will never mention it, but the guy wouldn't look me in the eye. He was talking to me, but wouldn't look me in the eye. He was like, "Yeah, Terry, how you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. All right, good."
Good to see you.
It was crazy, and I was going, "Yeah." I kept trying to get him, but because this is the thing, man. I am not running from anything. I don't have to. I'm like. I'm me. I'm not performing. I'm not showing. I'm just, if it was honest, I know it was honest. But this is what's so wild about the state of comedy right now. You know what I mean? When
it's
look
actually
at
the state of communication.
Yeah, communication. But when I look at, when everyone wants to catch you in a slip up, whereas you're not even looking at my heart anymore. Where you're waiting for me to slip and say something that you can catch me. Oh man, it's like a little traps everywhere. And I thought
because
that's not cool.
I think that what you described about yourself as a human being is our society now, and there is an anger.
Yeah,
there is just an underlying anger in everybody, and if they could find a reason to throw that punch. They just want to punch. They're just angry. The world feels trapped. Yep. And if you could take it out on a word you read, on an image you see, and you can go, fuck you, you can't say that releases some of that anger in them. And we're living in a real tough time right now. Yeah. And I want to say that I could talk to you for like 9 hours. And do you do a podcast?
I don't. I always love doing people's podcasts.
You should do a podcast.
That's what I was saying. We should talk about that. You should do a podcast because you don't even need a guest because your words are inspiring. You can talk. This is a real good milieu for you, just speaking. I don't know if you enjoy it even without a question, but you can put yourself with a co-host that could present you with whatever the issue of the day is, and you could just talk on it. But I think that my listeners, and more importantly, all listeners, could listen to you. And I think what you do, and that's why your book.
I would love to listen to you and your wife.
Oh,
because your relationship.
Why don't you guys do a podcast?
Dude, I've got goosebumps. We actually did an Audible book called Stronger Together. Everything I just told you is in my wife's viewpoint, in her voice. It's on Audible right now called Stronger Together, and it's me and Rebecca tells you exactly what she was thinking as we were going through all of this stuff. Dude, when I tell you, you gotta understand, man, I'm getting choked up thinking about it, man. When you're with two people, it's so much work. You know what I mean? Like putting up that stand every day. It's like you had like building a house to put up every day, and then taking it down, and then putting it back up. I was exhausted. And the reason my wife told me, she said, "What is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews?" I was so tired, I just told her. You know what I mean? Like I just couldn't do it anymore. And being one person, it's so freeing and easy and wonderful. Like when I say, "Hey man, I love you, man," and I mean it. Well, I'm not lying. I'm not saying the bullshit. I'm like, yo, this is good. Hey, when you see me and I say, "Hey, what's up, man?" I mean it. And it's just so freeing and so, it was so exhausting. And I get energy. I got new energy. I got new things. Like, again, I think Hollywood is getting to a point where one day, if you eat meat, you may not get a job. It'll be like, hey man, we don't want any meat eaters on our sets anymore. I don't know. So I don't get to call how, what's in and out, but I'll be happy doing anything.
Well, yeah, here's what I'm saying. I would love to produce it for you, but you and Rebecca, from your home, you do you talk on life, and you spread the word, and you take calls and questions from everybody that is suffering, and your perspective on what it is, I'm telling you, it would go through the roof.
Thank you, Howie.
We would cruise to a better life.
Thank you.
That's the name of the podcast. We're already producing
Cha-ching!
Yeah.
Somehow,
So buy the
money just
book.
slipped up from my pocket to yours. How did that happen?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is worth doing. I love you. I'll see you in a couple of days. Right?
I know. You guys, I love you guys. As a family, you guys just represent so many wonderful things. And,
I was so honored. He asked me to, Terry has a star on the Walk of Fame.
I remember that.
And he
That was
asked me to
amazing.
speak. He could ask anybody to
No.
speak. I went there, but I watched his family and him and the interaction. And one of the most beautiful moments that I can't get out of my head is watching, is it your grandmother?
Grandma, 95
years old. He brought her out to see, and you can imagine from what he has been telling us what life she started from.
The Deep South.
The Deep South, and what she has seen, and the oppression and the shit that she has gone through. And then to watch her offspring being celebrated in Hollywood and become, and you talked about generational wealth and in every way. You're pulling not only your family, but people who listen to you, and you're pulling us toward the light.
Dude, her husband worked on a chain gang. I mean, he was in jail. And I mean, she did everything she could do to keep the family together. And one thing I love about that day, she was like, these white people really like you.
She's never seen that.
Yeah, she was like, they're not bullshit. No, they really do like you. Dude, I cried. It was so.
No, you did.
It was so wonderful, man. And
I've
thank
only
you,
known
Howie.
I've only known Terry for a few years personally, but you cry a lot.
I do. Hey, wait. After the therapy, my wife will tell you, I never cried. Never. For 20 years of our marriage, I never cried. Ever. And what was weird? I was watching Lean on Me. The movie with Morgan Freeman.
Sure.
And I couldn't stop crying, dude. I cried for hours. Howie, I can't even understand. I'm watching the movie, and I don't know what triggered what it was. It was like the fact that Morgan Freeman was taking care of these kids, and he was looking after them like a dad, and he was just like, I'll do, Mr. Clark, we love you, Mr. Clark. And I was just like, oh, and I was crying. That was the first time I cried, and I was like, I'm crying, I can't stop. I can't. And my wife was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm not okay. And
You guys should go see a sad movie together. He cries too. He cries a click.
You cried
Right?
a lot, too?
I cried at Click.
The Adam Sandler movie.
where it goes
I
so
was
fast.
in that movie.
Yes.
I was next to him in the car.
Well, you made him cry.
Just missing my daughter's life. Like it went back so fast, and I related. I'm really emotional too.
Yeah.
So I connect with you. I'm sure our listeners connect with you. We got to do more. I'm going to
Yep.
see you this week. We have an amazing season. Season 17 on
Yes.
AGT, I think, is epic in every way. Fires on every cylinder that you can fire on television,
good.
from emotion to laughter to danger to everything. The book, Get Tough, Be Tough.
It's just tough.
Just tough.
Tough.
Just tough,
Tough by
is
Terry Crews.
wherever you get your books now. Anything that's Terry Crews, click on, subscribe, review. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Love you guys. Oh, that was going. I know. Dude, I love